Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Heal the Shadow in Your Relationships. Today we have the lovely Dina Robison with us. Hi, Dina.
Hi. Hello.
Welcome
Thank you for
to.
having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I'm just going to tell everyone a little bit about you. Dina is a deliberate love coach. She's also a certified law of attraction coach and a certified yoga and meditation instructor. And she is here to inspire and teach women how to deliberately attract the love that they truly desire. She is joyfully married. Oh, and a new mom. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How old's your baby?
She's 4 months. You might hear her in the background.
That's pretty new. And she lives happily with her family in Sunnyvale, California. And her vision and mission is to inspire and uplift dynamic and spiritual women everywhere to create, attract, and openly receive the greatest love partnership for them, their soulmate, and to inspire raised consciousness around love relationships all over the world, and to make love a priority in all that we do at home and on the planet. I totally resonate with that. I love that. And I thank you for saying that and having that be your mission and your vision. So,
Thank you for reading it.
yeah. So, welcome again. We're talking about healing the shadow in our relationships. And Dina, you had your own personal journey with this. So, what were your personal relationship shadows and blockages and patterns before you took a break from dating, right, in order to grow personally?
Correct.
So, tell
Uh,
us about that.
yeah. Well, how much time do we have? Because it's a long story, but I'll
Go
try
for
to keep
it. Go for it.
it. Well, let's just say my relationships prior always had followed a certain pattern. Um, it was kind of like the same type of person and the same interactions over and over before I even, realized it. So it would kind of follow this thing. When I say he, it's been more than one person, but I'm just saying he as if it's one
Sure.
person. He would say he loved me, but really his actions were kind of the opposite. Sometimes I'd get stood up or I'd not hear from him. He'd go MIA for a long time, or sometimes would even be kind of mean or disrespectful to me, verbally abusive, kind of a lot of anger there too. And certainly no talk of any kind of long-term commitment like marriage. They would say, they wanted to be with me, but, be my boyfriend or me, their girlfriend, but nothing, no like long-term commitment. I didn't feel loved.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And I'm sure a lot of women watching and listening right now can totally relate to that and have had similar experiences.
absolutely. I mean, that's why I got into coaching. And what would happen is I'm a pretty independent woman, so I would put up with that for only so long and then end the relationship. And what happened is I would bounce back and forth between being in one of those relationships to being single and alone. And sometimes it would be longer periods of time that I was single. And I got very good at being single and independent.
Yeah.
But what that blockage was that I had it in my mind that it was one or the other.
Ah,
That you had to be alone or be miserable.
yes.
Just the whole idea that a man could really love me and want to marry me or and want to start a family, it was just so foreign to me. So that
Mm,
would be like my biggest blockage. I mean, the idea of having a happy married life was just not in my belief system. It had a lot to do with, what I saw growing up as well. So that I would say was my biggest blockage there. So it was about 6 years ago, after another one of these same relationships, I call it the default relationship. I
default. Yeah.
decided enough was enough. I wasn't going to do it anymore. I wanted more than that. And so I took a break from dating to just figure out why I kept attracting and was attracted to that type of relationship and decided to change it. So, I mean, Now it's the complete opposite. I'm very happily married, and I love being in a relationship. I love being married, and I just want the listeners or the viewers to know that where I am now is the complete opposite of where I was before. So it is possible for anyone.
Yeah, and you're starting a family, and it's so wonderful to see you taking off on your road. And I had the similar experience. You just don't know what is the belief that is blocking you. And for various reasons, I'm Lithuanian. I was raised in a Lithuanian community. I couldn't relate to a lot of the Americans around me. I felt like I was an oddball, and my belief was, how could I ever attract somebody? I'm not going to have somebody stable. I'm not going to have it was just kind of like not in the cards for me. And I didn't even know that I was acting from that place or thinking from that
Okay.
place. It's something that's so unconscious that we just accept. That's why I say it's in the shadow. It's what we're blind to. And one day I woke up to it. I'd be looking at happy couples on the street, and they're all
Mm.
cuddling. And one day I just looked at them and I said, well, why can't I have that? And it had to
So,
be a conscious decision. So what were some of the steps that you took to shift out of those kind of patterns?
well, exactly what you just described. The very first thing I did was admit that I wanted the change and that the relationships I had been in were no longer good enough anymore, and that I was willing to change myself to break that pattern. And that was very powerful because that ended the cycle right there.
Yeah.
I stopped doing what I was going to do and what I had been doing comfortably before. And it did involve me taking a break from dating, of course. I needed to take a break. Otherwise, I would have fallen back into a default relationship.
Right.
So that was the most important. That was the first thing. And then I got my own life together. I got my own stuff together. I took an honest look at where I was, and I made some changes. I had been living in New York City for 9 years, a very independent life. And I realized I wanted to get closer to my family again. And it wasn't serving me anymore to be there still. And it was very hard moving back. I moved back in with my mom
Wow. Yeah.
after independent for so many years. And
Oh,
so it was tough, but it wasn't until I made those changes that I realized I had been putting a band-aid on the pain that I was feeling by being there for so long. And I think I was using relationship as kind of putting a band-aid on it. So that was the next thing I did. And then I really started meditating regularly. I started learning about the law of attraction and getting in touch with my spiritual lives to give me just some inner peace and happiness, and to really just take control of my own feelings and emotions. And that helped me to just be a balanced person, a balanced, happier person.
yes.
And then from there, from that place, that was the first time I was ever really able to get clear about what it was I truly wanted in a relationship. And so for the first time, I realized I wanted a marriage grounded in spiritual values, and I wanted to start a family. And those were things I did not think I wanted before.
Hmm.
But then as I allowed myself to grow and come out of that shell and expand, I was like, well, heck yeah, that's what I want. So from there, I was able to take inspired actions that ultimately led me to meet my husband.
Yeah, and I just so love that you brought up the fact that you got into your spiritual practice and especially meditation, and you're a meditation instructor. I wonder if we could take a little sidebar, and can you let us know, like, in what way does meditation help somebody who is on their journey to wanting to find their soulmate? Because I use it as one of my primary tools, and I have my own reason why, but I'd love to hear your point of view on it.
Well, there's probably many different reasons, as much as there's different people, it probably affects people in different way. But um, what I really think is, again, it breaks those default patterns that we have. So those blockages, those default patterns that have been comfortable, those thoughts that are just our normal thoughts, it starts to break it up because when you're meditating, you're learning to come away from those thoughts. The thoughts are now kind of moving into the periphery. They might still be there, but then you start to realize there's the separate self that is centered, that is away from that. And then it's from that place of knowing that those thoughts and those patterns are not you, that you are then able to now bring in new thoughts, thoughts that are going to give you what you want, that it reflects the person that you want to be. So I feel like the meditation just breaks you out of those habitual thoughts and patterns, and it basically just gives you that inner peace and calm.
Yeah, that's perfect and that's beautiful, and that's exactly how I feel about it too. It's wonderful. So after you took all of your steps to shift yourself out of your patterns, I'd love to hear what happened after that as a result.
Boy. Well, at that time, I knew I was really ready to meet someone because it was the first time I really felt ready and excited about meeting the love of my life. And I had intended to attract him into my life rather than just going about my daily business and, oh, maybe I'll meet someone. This was like I was really focused on attracting him, and I was excited about it. So to make a long story short, I joined an internet dating site, and within about 6 weeks of dating or on being on that site, he messaged me, and about 7 months later, we were engaged, and 8 months after that, we were married. And so that was
Wow.
almost 4 years ago now. And instead of accident, what I wanted to say about that was instead of accidentally falling for someone and just hoping for the best, which is what I would have done and what we're kind of taught to do,
Yeah.
I really deliberately attracted the love that I wanted.
And it happened quickly. For you, it
Yeah,
happened really quickly. All you had to do was shift your mindset.
that's right. And I had to get clear on what it was I really wanted.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that whole time that you were not dating, you were shifting habits,
Hmm.
you were meditating, you were doing spiritual practice. And how long did you like not date?
It was about 2 years.
2 years. Okay,
Yeah.
so that I think that's pretty quick actually. 2 years and you shift around your entire I call it your vibration,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I do too.
your energy, and we know that when we shift our energy, that energy is going to attract something different into our life. So I know that you are a law of attraction coach, and I love that because my grounding is new thought, science of mind, and that's exactly what we teach too, is law of attraction. And so I know that when you shift your mind, clear those blockages, that's when you get to attract what you really want, what you're looking for. So tell me how you do it. How do you help somebody who has a lot of shadow blockage in the area of love use the law of attraction in a way that really works? Because there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, affirmations don't work for me." I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's woo woo or it's just BS. There's the law of attraction that's kind of put out there in popular books and such in a way that's sounds like a fantasy.
Yeah.
And then there's a way to do it practically. So I use it personally, and I coach my clients with it in a way that is very realistic and very
Yes.
doable.
Yeah.
It has to be believable or it's not going to work. And that is by taking big steps and using just thoughts and affirmations and feelings that are believable for you right where you are right now. And so, what most people are doing wrong to make it not work, or they think, oh, that's just woo woo, is they're taking too big of an imaginative leap that their rational mind knows it's not real. For example, they might say they want to manifest $1 million or the mansion, or lose 100 pounds instantly, or manifest their dream partner instantly. You can't have any of those things right away. You have to get that in baby steps. Like Einstein said it himself, you can't solve our problems are we can't solve our problems at the same level of thinking that created it.
Right.
You have to start to begin to feel abundant, to lose weight. You have to start to feel healthy. To manifest the dream partner. You have to start to become loving. So, and then those things will be given to you. But it doesn't just happen right away. And I think that's just a misconception that's really, ruins the law of attraction for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what if you have a particular belief or pattern or thought about love, then you need to slowly just bring up your vibration from there. Would you be willing to go through an exercise right now?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, please do it.
Okay. Well, could you give me an example of a belief or a pattern that you might not have this right now because you've done the work, but that maybe your clients have or that you hear a lot about regarding love?
Okay, so the one that I hear all the time is all the good ones are taken. There are no quality mates out there.
Okay, excellent example. So what we would do is just start to think thoughts that are a little bit better. This is actually, I didn't make this up. This comes from Abraham-Hicks law of attraction work. So I just want to give credit to where I got that from.
Sure.
But I call it going up a ladder. So if, say, your belief is that all the good ones are taken, can you come up with a thought or a belief that's maybe just a little bit better than that, but is true for you?
So maybe there might be somebody out there, but I can't get to them somehow.
Okay, how does that feel compared to the fact that there's no one?
Okay, so there's one possibility that it's possible that somebody's out there rather than there's nobody out there.
And how does that feel to you?
Yeah, that feels, a little more open than the other one was, which was quite closed.
Great, great. So now, can you think of a thought that's maybe a little bit better than that, but still true?
Okay, so let's say there is somebody out there, and maybe I actually can find them or connect with them somehow, whether or not they're in my city or.
How does that feel to you? Does that feel true?
Well, you're asking the wrong person because I'm married to my soulmate 17
I
years.
know.
But
Think of your clients.
I know I'm trying to
you're
think of my
with.
clients, and some of them can be stubborn. But certainly for myself, that feels a little bit more open, that sure, somebody's out there and you absolutely can find them.
Okay.
I'm very much into possibility.
Okay. We'll address what maybe a client would probably say about that in a moment, but let's just do one more. A thought that's maybe even a little bit better than that.
Okay, so a thought that's even better than that is there's somebody out there just for me, and they're probably in my close proximity, and it's very possible that I could come across them pretty soon.
Great. And how does that feel?
Well, that's getting very exciting, isn't it?
There you go. See, that's the thing is once you start taking those baby steps, it starts to feel exciting as you open up. But what I was going to say is maybe for someone who really doesn't believe for a long time hasn't believed there's anyone good out there, they might have a harder time making that leap.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to all be in 5 seconds like it was for you.
Right.
It could take, a couple weeks or, longer. That's all right. But what you do is just start saying things that are true for you. It might be that it's like, okay, there is that guy across the world. I saw a video on YouTube with this guy talking about relationships that was really interesting. He would be my type. So, he's at least exists, right?
Uh-huh.
And then it might be like, well, so and so, a friend of mine, his husband is married to a very loving guy, and he really loves her and will do anything for her. And I would like a relationship like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that feels good. And that's like, okay, well, then it's believable. And so what they do is now start changing their belief system based on things they already know are true, but now their focus is on what it is they want, going towards what they want rather than away from it.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so basically you're taking us through what it feels like for you to believe the way you believe. Now, too many women have too much tolerance for sitting in the there's nobody for me. I don't know how to find them. I don't believe it's possible. My age, my, whatever. And there's too much tolerance for that because it doesn't make us feel good when we believe those
Mhm.
thoughts. So if we could possibly change it, and I think the key is to understand that we live in an unlimited universe of all possibilities. If you can imagine that everything is possible in this universe, it's all possible. If you can think of it, it's possible. Then it can be possible for you too.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I mean by being deliberate. I mean, you want to deliberately focus on what it is you want. So if you are reading things or watching things in movies or in TV that say there aren't any good men out there, then that is what you're going to believe. But if
Right.
you go around looking, you can find them on the internet. There's a lot of conscious men out there, and there's a lot of happy couples. And I started focusing on those types of people myself. I started bringing my attention to happily married couples in my life of
Yes.
people
Yeah.
I knew,
Mm-hmm.
and what I focused on expanded and
Yes.
expanded so much into my own life. So just I would say to just keep that in mind. What you focus on expands.
Yeah, and watch the people you're surrounding yourself with. If you've gotten in with a group of single women and you're all getting together to kvetch about men, oh, men don't do this right, and they're all scared of me. I'm too strong. I
Mm,
hear that a lot.
yeah,
And men don't want smart women. I hear that a lot. So if
not
you
true.
if you're all together with each other and agreeing with each other on this, you are just affirming that which you don't want.
Hmm.
And a
And
lot,
regarding the smart, strong women thing, sorry to interrupt
no,
you.
no worries, no
Take
worries.
a look at who landed George Clooney. Take a look at the
Yes.
woman who landed George Clooney, and
Yes.
don't tell me that men don't like strong and smart women.
Oh,
Okay.
God, she's gorgeous. And I'm so happy that he ended up with somebody that gorgeous because I love him so much. But you know what I do with particularly stubborn clients that are not, that they're stuck in their belief thinking this is reality. Then I ask them, well, would you be willing to
Yeah.
consider that there is another reality possible? And you have to start where you're willing. You know,
Yes, absolutely.
maybe you can't believe that there's somebody quality out there, but maybe you'd be willing to consider that there is, or be willing to consider that there's a guy that wants you with your special traits, with strong, smart, whatever you are that you think you can't attract. Just be willing to consider that there is somebody out there.
Absolutely. And that's a great way to put it because even if we don't necessarily believe it yet, we can at least make the choice to be willing.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good place to start.
Yeah.
So what is the single most important step that someone can take right now to begin to shift out of their blocks and to attract the love that they want?
Yes, great question. Because again, it comes down to just steps. And the most important thing that you can do right now to attract the love you want is to get as clear as possible about what it is you want really in your life for your own personal and professional fulfillment and about the partnership that you want. Because without that clarity, you will continue to attract the default relationships, what's been comfortable, what's been the pattern, and what's been happening. But with clarity, it gives it, like you said, it changes your vibration. It gives you a different energy, and you start to be attracted to that and attract different types of people.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it all starts with that first step of just considering that there could be a different possibility, different reality. Be very clear on what you want, because if you're not clear, how are you going to be able to vibrate that which you want to come to you? So I think that's very important.
Absolutely.
So, Dina, it's been such a pleasure to have you here. I know that you've got some free gifts for our viewers, and there are two, not one, but two free audio recordings. And I have the link right down here. So, why don't you tell us about these fabulous gifts that you have for everybody?
Yeah, there are two free audio recordings, about 30 minutes long each. The first one is 6 ways to begin deliberately attracting your soulmate now. And that is basically where I share my story in much more detail that I told you, and the 6 steps that I took that I really felt led me to my husband.
Woohoo.
So that's going to go into a lot more detail about what we talked about. And then the other recording is 5 ways to shift into the love that you want. And that is specific exercises that I use with my clients to raise their vibration, change their vibration, to shift beliefs. And like we were talking about, it's they're very doable and realistic. So the ladder exercise is one of them on there. So you can use the law of attraction in a way that makes it very effective for you and very believable for you.
Awesome. They sound fabulous. So, thank you so much for giving those gifts to us. And like I said, the link is down below here. And it's just been such a pleasure to have you here, Dina, and be able to talk about one of my favorite subjects, how law of attraction really helps you to attract the love that you want and to vibrate that soulmate to your life. So,
Yes.
thanks for
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here, and we'll see everybody else on the next installment of Heal the Shadow in Your Relationships, too. Bye bye for now.